Well, we'll get started. So hi, my name is Evan, and I am the founder of Flow Into Yoga. And this is a gentle restorative practice. So it's meant to be easy, it's meant to be no strain, and just to feel good in your body. And before we get started, I just want all of us to know that yesterday, I'm sure all of you are aware, that yesterday was a full moon. So of course here right now, I'm speaking to those of you who are joining in the class with me tonight. And if you're like me, a full moon can be really easy to follow your energy and your doing with the rising cycle of that waxing energetic moon. And so actually one of the reasons that traditional Ashtangis don't practice yoga on full moon days is because our energy and our emotions can be super heightened, but we can be have very little grounding. And so that said, tonight's practice is really intended to help us to ground and to come back to our bodies. So again, the goal is ease. There are way too many difficult things in life to make our wellness practices difficult as well. So let's find that ease. We're going to come onto our back. And I didn't mention, but 2 blocks can be nice, some pillows, maybe a towel or a blanket over your mat, and maybe even a bolster or a big body pillow. All of those can be helpful in this restorative practice. So on our back, we'll place our feet together, knees apart, and this is where pillows or blocks may come in handy. Supta Baddha Konasana. Opening the knees, so finding openness through the hips, and you can place those blocks on the outside of the hips. You might place the hands on the low belly and take a few cleansing breaths in through the nose, out with a sigh. Usually my first cleansing breath, when I first get onto my mat, it's pretty dramatic. So I've already had my practice today right before this, so I've already gotten that out of me. So if you need to be dramatic with that breath, do so. Just really getting into your body. Allowing yourself to fully come into this moment, this experience. You might gently tuck the chin to the chest, just checking that there's length in the back of the neck. Feel your breath ebb and flow through the belly. Maybe if your hands are on the belly, you'll notice as you breathe in that they lift up and away from each other. As you breathe out, they come back down and towards one another. So just stay there and breathe. Stay there and be. Stay there and feel. Notice. So I've started reading again the book Gandhi, His Life and Message for the World. I read this in one of my Asian religions class in undergrad. So I've started reading it again, and I have some readings to share with you tonight. So the first, Krishna describes the yogi, and by the way, Krishna is the God in Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna describes the yogi as one whose mind is untroubled in sorrow and longeth not for joys, who is free from passion, fear, and wrath. He is called the ascetic of secure understanding, the man who sheds all longings and moves without concern. Free from the sense of I and mine, he attains peace. Begin to find some movement, maybe wiggling the fingers. Maybe rotating through the wrists. You might choose to extend the legs out long, or maybe the hands come on the outside of the thighs and guide the knees in towards each other. And then we're all going to find that length extending from one side of the room to the next. Take a big breath in, filling the whole lung space, reaching front and back, pointing those toes, spreading the fingers wide. And then relax. Allow the shoulders to melt down. Allow the legs and the feet to soften. On your next inhale, do that again. Reach long. Breathe in through both sides of the ribs, maybe even stretching from the right side to the left, seeing how much length you can find. And then on your exhale, soften. We'll do that one more time. Big breath in, stretch front and back. Exhale, let it go. And then bend both knees, place the feet on the ground, windshield wiper the legs side to side. So the feet are going to be really wide on the mat, maybe even off the mat. Hands again can rest on the low belly, or you might see how it feels to clasp hands behind the head. Noticing that as you do that, that'll bring you some more opening through the front of the shoulders and the chest. On your knees, drop to the left. Pause there. Breathing in through that right hip flexor for 5 rounds of breath. If you don't feel the stretch in the front of the right leg, lift up and just look to see that that right knee is in line with the navel. 2 more full breaths. Inhale. Inhale to center, exhale opposite side. Maybe you feel that stretch. Maybe it's too much on your knee, and if that's the case, put something underneath that left knee. And if you'd like more, bring the knee in line with the navel. But again, it's really not about finding the biggest stretch, but more so just allowing your body to be in the form that it's finding. Breathing, feeling, being fully in that space. Inhale back to the center, and once again, stretch long, one side of the room to the next. Maybe this time clasp your hands, pushing up from the palms. And then walk your legs over to the left side of the mat. The right leg, the right ankle can just stay on the inside of that left leg. Or you might choose to wrap the right ankle on top of the left leg, on top of the left ankle. And then walk your arms over to the left, so finding banana pose. So usually when I do this pose, I want to hold my wrist and really pull myself to the side. But I felt so tired today in my practice when I did it earlier that I didn't really want to grasp, I didn't want to pull, I didn't want to do any work at all. I just found that I just wanted to hang out there and just let that right shoulder melt down. So just check in, ask yourself, what is it that your body is asking for? What is it that you're needing? And then take that. Breathe in through the right side. So I'm going to start a timer for a minute. We've done this together before. What we're going to do is count your breath. And so how many breaths do you take in 1 minute? I'll tell you when we're starting. Find the bottom of your exhale and begin counting. If you lose track, no worries. Just start back at 1. Filling the whole right side of the body and letting just as much go. Stop counting. Walk yourself back to the center. Allow your body to soften in the center. Allowing whatever came up on that side to have an opportunity to melt away. And then begin to walk yourself over to the right side. Same thing. Deciding how much effort you want to put in here. Get yourself settled. And on this side, we're going to count to the minute. Same thing, we're going to have a timer. But this time, I want you to see if you can slow your breaths down. So the intention is to see if we can have a fewer amount of breath counts with this minute. Find the bottom of your next exhale. And then start. Stop counting. And begin to walk yourself back to the center. And so that second round, hopefully it felt good. If not, maybe you find somewhere in between. But the idea is that your minute is that second round where you're breathing slower and more fully. So from here, we'll go ahead and hug our knees into our chest and allow the body to rock side to side. Knees can be tight together, or maybe they open up towards the underarms and the feet can follow. This is a good time to rotate through the ankles or spread out through the toes. And go ahead and pull your knees in toward the chest. Pull your head up. See if you can kiss both knees. Give yourself a little love. And then release back down. Keep your right knee towards your chest. Extend your left to the ground. And then on the inhale, we'll push our knee into clasped hands that's in the front of the knee. And on the exhale, pull back towards the chest. Inhale, push forward. Exhale, pulling back. So warming this leg and hip up to the idea of a full compression. Do that for just a few more rounds. And the next time you pull that knee into the chest, hold there. Once again, if you still feel a little wiggle wormy, you can move through the ankle. And then find the bottom of your exhale. And begin your minute counting. Your minute. And as you breathe and count, see about pushing the right lung into the right thigh. Really allowing that belly to expand. Enhancing the whole respiratory capacity. When you've completed your minute, we'll find fallen tree. With the sole of the right foot on the inside of the left thigh. Take your time to get there. Allow that right knee to fall out to the side. This is a good place to use your block too. You can always place a block or pillow on the outside of the right thigh. Just come back to being. Allowing whatever is to be. Sometimes when we get into the hips, that can stir emotions that have been sitting in internally for who knows how long. So if emotions begin to rise to the surface, it's okay. Just notice them, say hello, and keep breathing. We'll extend our legs long and find star pose for a moment. Spreading your arms wide, palms face up, toes falling to the corners of the mat. Just allowing the whole body to soften. Noticing what came up on that side. Listening to the messages of the body, which is the soul speaking to you from within. And then once again, we'll hug our knees into our chest. You can rock side to side. You can, again, lift your head up and kiss either knee. You can just pull yourself in a really tight ball. Whatever feels right to you in this moment. Just a way to recenter before going to the other side. And then hug your left knee, extend the right, lower the shoulders and the head. Check that the back of the neck is long, gently tucking the chin towards the chest. And then inhale, pushing the front of the knee into the clasped hands. Exhale, pulling the knee towards the chest. Follow your breath. Next time that knee pulls in, be here, breathe here. Maybe rotate through the ankle a few times if you'd like. Begin counting your breath cycle, finding your minute. This time pushing the left lung into the left thigh. Check that the jaw is soft. That the forehead and eyebrows are relaxed. And when it's time, melt down into that falling tree. Sole of the left foot on the inside of the right thigh, maybe the right knee. Just find your sense of comfort. Notice how supported you are by the earth below you. And trust fully in that support. Allowing yourself to be even heavier. And then once again, find that star pose. Noticing what may be melting away on that left side. And then we'll begin to come up into hands and knees. You can either roll over to one side and push yourself up, or you can pull your knees back into your chest and find a back massage by rocking up and down along the spine. Yogi's choice. Listen to your body. And if you're rocking, you can do so as many times as feels good. And we'll come through hands and knees. We're going to stretch through our wrist. Good for the heart. So we're going to start with the fingertips facing towards the knees, with the front of the wrists facing in front of the mat. So just going to that first stretch edge. So maybe the top of the palm is slightly lifted, maybe it's down. But we'll just rock front and back. The toes can be tucked if you'd like to also get a stretch through the fascia and the soles of the feet. Or you can just choose to have tops of the feet on the mat, and that would actually stretch the front of the feet. And then we'll begin to draw circles, starting small, taking your time to expand those circles. Sending those conscious, warming breaths to the spaces that you're choosing to open right now. And then circle in the other direction. So helping the blood to flow all the way down to our fingertips. Which of course then would help us to better love and connect to the world around us. We'll just sit back onto our feet and give a little flick of the fingers. And then bring your hands into your lap. You might notice a sensation around the forearms, around the wrists, and the hands. Maybe you notice it coming from the heart. And then we'll do the other side. And so fingertips facing towards you again, this time the tops of the wrist on the mat. And we'll just rock front and back. Be gentle, be easy. As a reminder, if any kind of hard emotions or hard thoughts start to arise, you can always breathe in through the nose and then out through the mouth with a circle of the lips, like this. And we'll draw circles. So allowing that stuff to be. Other side. While at the same time, knowing what to do to soften that being. Once again, sit on back. Do a little flick of the wrist. And then again, palms into the lap, close the eyes. Just long enough to allow that melting sensation to be experienced. Good, and then we'll come back into our hands and knees. And if your wrists have had enough, you can find a fist with the wrist and come onto the fist. And we'll just find 5 rounds of cat-cow. Inhaling to lower the belly, lift the gaze up. Exhaling to round through the spine. And you might choose to shift the hips back, keeping the chin tucked in towards the chest. Just for an added bonus, bringing more stretch towards the neck and towards the lower back. Let's find a child's pose. Big toes together, knees apart. You can, as always, as more traditional, allow the arms to extend along the ears, forehead to the ground. You might also like a more restorative form of this posture, bringing a block or a pillow under your head, placing one side of the face to the mat and allowing the arms to come by your feet, palms face up. For me, it's actually more comfortable without anything underneath, so you might try that as well. Allowing your chest and hips to just melt down towards the earth with each exhale. And if you chose to place one side of the face to the mat, go ahead and switch sides. Good, and then begin to extend your arms forward. And we'll just shift ourselves through into a melting heart posture. So version 1 would be to place a block or pillow under the chest. Where's my other block? And then the other block under the forehead. The hips are going to stay above the knees. Forehead is going to be on the edge of the block. Arms extending forward. Palms face down. So it is compression through the shoulders, so that then it will allow the shoulders to further release from those shoulder sockets. Now, option 2 would be chest all the way to the ground, forehead to the ground. Option 3 would be chin on the ground, gaze forward, chest on the ground. So take your pick and find your breath, your minute. Where can you find more ease? Is it in the body? Can you find more ease in the mind? Allowing the thoughts to melt away, be put to the side. Can you find more ease emotionally by taking advantage of your breath? When you're ready, slowly come onto your belly, straight into Sphinx pose. Elbows under shoulders, palms face down, fingers spread, navel to spine. And y'all who are with me right now, you've had enough practice in these postures, especially Sphinx, to know the different energetic creations of this posture. So if you're wanting to extend more energy, if you're wanting to find more opening, you can always pull the navel to the spine and actively push the palms away from the ground. If you really feel like you just need to soften, and see about just sinking into those shoulders, allowing the chin just to drop to the chest. Maybe you find somewhere in between. Wherever you're choosing to be, allow the breath to fill the whole front of the body. For the last 3 to 5 rounds of breaths, you can choose to lift the elbows, straightening the elbows, pushing into the palms, finding cobra, maybe allowing the head to drop a little bit more back, opening through the front of the neck. And then on your next exhale, drop all the way down to the belly. Rest one palm over the other. Rest the forehead on the palms. Soften the whole body. Allow the buttocks to let go, the thighs to relax, the backs of the knees and the calves to melt, and the heels to drop towards the corners of the mat. Good, and then release the hands, bring them by your side, forehead to the ground. And we'll just do a little bit of work, a little bit of back strengthener. You begin to lift the chest and the head up, lift the palms up, and breathe for 5. You might notice that the inhale lifts you up ever so slightly. Exhale naturally brings you back closer to the earth. Keeping the gaze down towards the ground to lengthen the back of the neck. One more breath. And on the exhale, release one cheek to the mat. Palms stay by your side face up. You can allow the hips to rock side to side if you'd like. Good, and then we'll do that same thing, except for we'll add one more layer to it. So forehead to the ground. Begin to lift the chest and the head. Lift the palms. Tie the feet together. Lift the feet and the knees up. and breathe for 5. After your 5 rounds, release back down, opposite cheek to the mat. And this time, if you'd like, you can bend the knees and allow the feet to rock side to side. So earlier I read about what Krishna describes as the yogi. Now I'll share what Gandhi defines as the perfect karmic yogi. He says he is a devotee who is jealous of none, who is a fount of mercy, who is without egotism, who is selfless, who treats alike cold and heat, happiness and misery, who is ever forgiving, who is always contented, whose resolutions are firm, who has dedicated mind and soul to God, who causes no dread, who is not afraid of others, who is free from exaltation, sorrow, and fear, who is pure, who is versed in actions yet remains unaffected by it, who renounces all fruit, good or bad, who treats friend and foe alike, who is untouched by respect or disrespect, who is not puffed up by praise, who does not go under when people speak ill of him, who loves silence and solitude, who has a disciplined reason. Such devotion is inconsistent with the experience at the same time of strong attachments. So no attachments, people. Slowly begin to lift yourself up. We'll come into a seat. Finding Janu Sirsasana. I know some of y'all's favorite. So we want to bring a twist into this Janu Sirsasana tonight. We'll start with the sole of the right foot on the inside of the left leg. We're going to have the left leg extending out through the middle of the mat, just like mine is now, with the right knee facing towards the right side. As always, you can place a block or a pillow under that right knee. You can place something else under the left knee, just to give yourself a little bit more support if that's needed for you. And then we're going to begin to twist ourselves towards the left leg, begin to activate through that left foot. And for many of you, you might just stay here, staying lifted. For others, maybe you can begin to walk yourself forward, finding just that first edge, feeling the stretch in the hamstring, as well as on the low back towards the right side. Just take 3 breaths here like this, activated, staying long through the spine, pushing away through the left heel. And then on your next exhale, begin to melt down. So this is where a prop is nice to have so that you can just round forward and let the head and chest be heavy. No more grasping. Just allowing your body to fall into whatever it does. We're going to come into a 4-count breath here. Just for 1 minute. Find the bottom of your exhale. And then on your next inhale, breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Out 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Do that 2 more times on your own. Release the breath. And slowly begin to walk yourself up halfway, bringing the left arm on the inside of the left leg, placing it on a block or a bolster. You can either choose to keep that right hand on the right hip. You can lift the right arm up and just keep it straight up. Option C would be to allow the right arm to extend along the right ear. Keep that left foot soft. And just let go. You can let the left ear drop to the left shoulder if that feels good. Breathe in through the right side. Feeling the space being created between every rib. Just 2 more breaths. Good, and then slowly take your time to come out of this one. Like as slow as possible. And you can choose just to stay here, lift it up with the right hand on the outside of the right hip. Or you can choose to lift the hips up and extend the left arm along the left ear and rotate that left ankle. Bringing the gaze towards the back left corner of your mat, or I guess of the room. And then release yourself down. Same thing, other side. So we'll just switch to the other opposite side of the mat. So that right leg is just extending through the center of the mat. The left knee pointing through the very center of the mat, so towards the left side of the room. And then we'll twist ourselves towards the right, bringing out the body, massaging the organs. And then maybe begin to walk yourself forward. So twists are really, really good for the digestion. You can think of it as wringing out a wet rag, releasing the liquid that really just makes it heavy and weighted. We do that same thing to our digestive tract as we twist through the navel. Take just one more breath here in this lean. And then begin to melt down. Soften through the right foot, the right leg. No more grasping. Allowing what is to be. And then we'll come back to that 4-part breath. Find the bottom of your exhale. And then breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Out 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Do that 2 more times. Invite softness. Release the breath. Slowly rise up halfway. Right arm on the inside of the right leg. Left hand on the left hip. Extend it up or all the way over. Let go here. Maybe even notice a subtle smile with the lips. Parting of the teeth. A melting feeling all around the face. And when it's time to lift up, do so slowly with care. Left hand can rest on the outside of that left hip and you can just stay lengthened. Or you can lift the hips up to the sky, keeping legs as they are, extending right leg, right arm along the right ear. Rotate that right wrist. Good, and then slowly release down. And we'll extend our legs long on the mat. Palms by the side, fingertips facing towards the feet, Dhanurasana. Stay active through the legs. Pull the thighs towards each other. Push away from the ground with the palms, lifting the center of the chest up towards the sky, navel into spine. And then take one big breath in here. Squeeze the pelvic floor muscles together. Squeeze the navel to spine. And then extend the arms forward. If you're not all the way in the front of the mat, go ahead and do that. And then we'll lower ourselves down one vertebrae at a time for 4, 3, 2, 1. When you get there, extend the arms long, extend the legs long, just like we did earlier. Good. And then bend the knees, feet on the ground. And we'll lift our feet up into waterfall. You can place your hands under your hips for a little bit of lift. And of course, if you have a block or pillow, you can place that there. Whatever you're choosing, allow the hips to be super heavy. And you might decide to straddle the legs, rotate the ankles. As always, there's so many choices here. You can split the legs if you'd like, finding one more stretch through the hamstrings. We'll draw circles. And then we'll find stillness. Choosing either stillness with legs straight, or you might decide to let the knees drop back towards the chest or the shoulders. Breathe where you're choosing to be. Maybe close the eyes. Turning inward. Noticing what's going on internally. Observing without judgment, without any attachment. Rather with a sense of ease and curiosity. Slowly release the feet down. Release the hips if they're lifted. Allow the feet to be wide, the knees to drop in towards each other. One hand on the belly, one hand on the heart. You might take this as an opportunity to find something that you're grateful for. It could be in this experience. Maybe it was something that happened in your day. You find that sense of gratitude. Just breathe it in. Feel it with your whole being. And then drop your knees to the right, supine twist. Maybe shifting the hips to the left a little bit. Just a few rounds of breath here. Gaze can be up or towards the left. You can wrap the left leg around the right if you'd like a deeper twist. One more breath on this side. And then move your way towards the other direction. So Gandhi summarized in one word everything that he described it is to be a devoted yogi. And that word is desirelessness. And he explains that while many Hindus at the time would say that desirelessness would lead to personal indifference and passivity and national poverty, Gandhi said that in actuality, desirelessness allows us to act while renouncing interest in the fruits of action. He says, he who is ever brooding over result often loses nerve in the performance of duty. He becomes impatient and then gives vent to anger and begins to do unworthy things. He jumps from action to action, never remaining faithful to any. He who broods over results is like a man given to the objects of senses. He is ever distracted. He says goodbye to all scruples. Everything is right in his estimation, and he therefore resorts to means fair and foul to attain his end. Desirelessness. Come back to the center and release into your Shavasana without any desire, without any expectation. Just allowing whatever is to simply be in this moment. Take a final big breath in and hold it at the top. And when you can no longer hold it anymore, let it go with a big sigh along with everything else. Melting down towards the earth. You might choose to place a blanket over the body, a pillow over the knees to release the low back. Just allowing the body to find complete comfort. The yogi is one whose mind is untroubled in sorrow and longeth not for joys, who is free from passion, fear, and wrath. He is called the ascetic of secure understanding. The man who sheds all longings and moves without concern, free from the sense of I and mine, he attains peace. Take a big breath in and let it go. Begin to slowly awaken the body, finding gentle movement of the fingers and toes. Maybe tapping each fingertip into the palms, reconnecting to the physical body, to the physical world. You can extend your arms up and along the ears, stretching the body long one more time. And then roll over to one side, cradling the head with the arm, pulling the knees up into the chest. Coming back to that space of gratitude. Maybe this time gratitude for your strength. Gratitude for your energy, for your health. And then push your way up to a seat. Palms together, heart center. Bringing everything that we gathered back to the center of us. And then on the inhale, lift the arms out and up, palms together at the top. On the exhale, thumb knuckles will come down to the third eye for peace in the mind. Thumb knuckles to the lips for peace in the words. Thumb knuckles to the chest for peace in the heart. Thank you all so much for practicing with me. It was a joy to share this with you. Namaste. If you'd like to practice any more of this in more detail, or learn this or any other style of yoga or many other styles of yoga in more depth, I'm always available for some private sessions. So just reach out to me if that's something that you're interested in. Thank you so much for practicing.